as we are covering the contents of torsion. In previous lecture, we studied the stresses and strains in pair shear. However, in this part of lecture, we will study the topic transmission of power by circular shafts. We will also try to solve a problem related to the topic. However, in second part of this lecture, we will study and analyze the statically indeterminate torsional members. So let's start. Transmission of power by circular shaft. The most important use of circular shaft is to transmit mechanical power from one device or machine to another. As in the drive shaft of an automobile, the propeller shaft of a ship, or the axle of a bicycle. The power is transmitted through the rotary motion of the shaft, and the amount of power transmitted depends upon the magnitude of the torque and the speed of rotation. A common design problem is to determine the required size of the shaft so that it will transmit a specified amount of power at a specified rotational speed without exceeding the allowable stresses for the material. Let us suppose that a motor-driven shaft, as shown in the figure here, is rotating at an angular speed omega measured in radians per second. The shaft transmits a torque T to a device, the device not shown in the figure here, that is performing useful work. The torque applied by the shaft to the external device, as we discussed that external device not shown in the figure here, but we can say that the torque applied by the shaft to the external device has the same sense as the angular speed omega. That is, its vector points to the left. However, the torque shown in the figure is the torque exerted on the shaft by the device, and so its vector points in the opposite direction. However, in general, the work done by a torque of constant magnitude is equal to the product of the torque and the angle through which it rotates, and it can be expressed as W is equal to product of torque and the angle through which it rotates. So W is equal to T psi, where psi is the angle of rotation in radians. We also know that power is the rate at which work is done, or we can also express it as work done per unit time, and it is represented as dW over dt. Here replace W with T psi. The expression can be expressed as T d psi over dt, in which P is the symbol for power, T represents time, the rate of change of the angular displacement psi is the angular speed. So therefore the preceding equation becomes P is equal to T omega. This formula, which is familiar from elementary physics, gives the power transmitted by a rotating shaft transmitting a constant torque T. However, the angular speed is often expressed as the frequency of rotation, which is the number of revolutions per unit of time. The unit of frequency is Hertz, equal to 1 revolution per second. In as much as 1 revolution equals to 2 pi radians, we obtain omega is equal to 2 pi f. Here omega is the angular speed and f is the frequency. So the expression for power, by replacing omega with 2 pi f, the equation becomes P is equal to 2 pi ft. Another commonly used unit is the number of revolutions per minute, denoted by the letter n. Therefore, we also have the relationship n is equal to 60f. So here, by replacing f with n over 60, the equation for power becomes P is equal to 2 pi n t over 60. However, in these equations, the quantities P and T has units of watts if T has unit of Newton meter. So we can say that power has units of watts if torque measured in Newton meters, and P has units of foot pounds per second if torque has units of pound feet. In US engineering practice, power is sometimes expressed in horsepower, a unit equal to 550 pound-feet per second. Therefore, the horsepower being transmitted by a rotating shaft is H is equal to 2 pi n t over 60 cross 550. And the final equation of horsepower can be expressed as 2 pi n t over 33,000. 1 horsepower is approximately equal to 746 watt. So we can say that the preceding equations relate the torque acting in the shaft to the power transmitted by the shaft. Once the torque is known, we can determine the shear stresses, shear strains, angle of twist, and other desired quantities. So after studying the theoretical concepts of the topic transmission of power by circular shaft, now we will try to solve a problem by applying what we learned theoretically. Here is the problem. The problem statement is a motor driving a solid circular steel shaft transmit 40 horsepower to a gear at B as shown in figure here. The allowable shear stress in the steel is 6000 psi. In part A, we have to determine the required diameter of the shaft if it is operated at 500 rpm. However, in part B, we have to find out the diameter if it is operated at 3000 rpm. So after analyzing the problem statement, now we will move towards the solution. In part A, we have to find out the diameter of the shaft if motor operated at 500 rpm. Knowing the horsepower and the speed of rotation, we can find out the torque T acting on the shaft by using the equation H is equal to 2 pi n T over 33,000. Now rearrange this equation for torque T becomes T is equal to 33,000 H over 2 pi n. Horsepower H and speed of rotation n given in the statement that are 40 horsepower and 500 rpm respectively. By putting these values, we can easily determine torque that will be 420.2 pound-feet or 5042 pound-inch. This torque is transmitted by the shaft from the motor to the gear. Now the maximum shear stress in the shaft can be obtained from the modified Taurian formula. The equation is Ta max is equal to 16T over pi d cube. Solving that equation for the diameter and also substituting allowable shear stress for maximum shear stress, we get the expression for d cube is equal to 16T over pi Ta allow. Here Ta allow is the allowable shear stress. We know that we have just calculated the value of torque that was 5042 pound-inch and allowable shear stress given in the problem statement that is 6000 psi. So putting these values here in equation and after some simplifications, the diameter of the shaft can be easily find out that will be 1.62 inch. The diameter of the shaft must be at least this large if the allowable shear stress is not to be exceeded. In part B of this problem, we have to determine the diameter of the shaft if motor operated at 3000 rpm. For this, follow the same procedure as in part A. We can obtain torque by using the expression T is equal to 33,000 H over 2 pi n. Here we know the value of H is 40 and speed of rotation n is 3000 rpm. And so the torque is 70.03 pound-feet or 840.3 pound-inch. As we discussed already in previous slide, the expression for dia is d cube is equal to 16T over pi Ta allow. The value of torque is 840.3 and the allowable shear stress is 6000 psi. In this way, after some simplifications, the diameter will be 0.89 inch, which is less than the diameter found in part A. So this problem illustrates that the higher the speed of rotation, the smaller the required size of the shaft. This is for the same power and the same allowable stress. So after studying about transmission of power by circular shaft, now we will study the topic statically indeterminate torsional members. The bars and shaft described in the preceding sections are statically determinate because all the internal torques and R reactions can be obtained from free body diagrams and equations of equilibrium. However, if additional restraints such as fixed supports are added to the bars, the equations of equilibrium will no longer be adequate for determining the torques. The bars are then classified as statically indeterminate. Torsional members of this kind can be analyzed by supplementing the equilibrium equations with compatibility equations pertaining to the rotational displacements. Thus, the general method for analyzing statically indeterminate torsional members is the same as for statically indeterminate bars with axial loads. The first step in the analysis is to write equations of equilibrium obtaining from free body diagrams of the given physical situation. The unknown quantities in the equilibrium equations are torques, either internal torques or reaction torques. The second step in the analysis is to formulate equations of compatibility based upon physical conditions pertaining to the angles of twist. As a consequence, the compatibility equations contain angles of twist as unknowns. However, the final or third step is to relate the angles of twist to the torques by torque displacement relations, such as phi is equal to TL over GIP. After introducing these relations into the compatibility equations, they too become equations containing torques as unknowns. Therefore, the last step is to obtain the unknown torques by solving simultaneously the equations of equilibrium and compatibility equation. To illustrate the method of solution, we will analyze the composite bar AB shown in figure here. The bar is attached to a fixed port at end A and loaded by a torque T at end B. Furthermore, the bar consists of two parts, a solid bar and a tube, with both the solid bar and tube joined to a rigid end plate at point B. For convenience, we will identify the solid bar and tube by the numbers 1 and 2 respectively. For instance, the diameter of the solid bar is denoted by a symbol D1 and the outer diameter of the tube is denoted D2. A small gap exists between the bar and the tube, and therefore the inner diameter of the tube is slightly larger than the diameter D1 of the bar. When the torque T is applied to the composite bar, the end plate rotates through a small angle phi, and torques T1 and T2 developed in the bar and the tube respectively as shown in the figures here. From equilibrium, we know that sum of these torques equal to the applied torque, and so the equation of equilibrium is T1 plus T2 is equal to T. Because this equation contains two unknowns T1 and T2, we recognize that composite bar is statically indeterminate. Now, to obtain a second equation of compatibility, we must consider the rotational displacements of both the solid bar and the tube. Let us denote the angle of twist of the solid bar by phi 1 and angle of twist of the tube by phi 2. These angles of twist must be equal because the bar and the tube are joined to the end plate and rotate with it. Consequently, the equation of compatibility is phi 1 is equal to phi 2. The angles phi 1 and phi 2 are related to the torques T1 and T2 by the torque displacement relations, which is the case of linearly elastic materials, are obtained from the equation phi is equal to TL over GIP. Thus, phi 1 is equal to T1L over G1 IP1 and phi 2 is equal to T2L over G2 IP2. Here T1 and T2 are the torques in solid bar and the tube respectively, and G1 and G2 are the shear modulus of elasticity of the materials, and IP1 and IP2 are the polar moments of inertia of the cross sections. When the preceding expressions for phi 1 and phi 2 are substituted into the equation phi 1 is equal to phi 2, the equation of compatibility becomes T1L over G1 IP1 is equal to T2L over G2 IP2. We now have two equations and two unknowns, so we can solve them for the torques T1 and T2. The results are T1 is equal to T multiplied by G1 IP1 divided by G1 IP1 plus G2 IP2. Here T is the resultant torque, and T2 is equal to T multiplied by G2 IP2 over G1 IP1 plus G2 IP2. With these talks known, the essential part of the statically indeterminate analysis is completed. All other quantities such as stresses and angles of twist can now be found from the talks. So the preceding discussion illustrates the general methodology for analyzing a statically indeterminate system in Taurian. In the following problem, this same approach is used to analyze a bar that is fixed against Taurian at both ends. In this problem, we assume that the bars are made of linearly elastic materials. However, the general methodology is also applicable to bars of non-linear materials. The only change is in the torque displacement relations. However, I am leaving this problem at year end. Students should have to solve this problem by applying the theoretical concepts learned in this lecture. Thank you for your attention.